Welcome to the National Electrical and Communications Association and the Fair Work Ombudsman's electronic seminar for the Electrical, Electronic and Communications Contracting Industry Award 2010. My name is Oliver Judd. I'm the Employee Relations Manager for NECA, and I will also be your Fair Work Liaison Officer. If you have any questions in relation to this video, feel free to contact me on the details that will be provided later on to discuss any of the issues you may have. Please note that this video is supplemented by a guide to the modern award and the National Employment Standards. We recommend that you have a copy available with you during the video to assist you to understand the scenarios that are dealt with. To obtain a copy, simply fill your details into the form on this page and NECA will get a copy to you. This presentation is broken into chapters, each containing an explanation of each of the National Employment Standards, or NES, and an explanation of the more critical provisions of the Electrical, Electronic and Communications Contracting Award 2010. It is important that you understand the obligations outlined in this video, as there are significant fines that can be imposed where businesses do not comply. A set of 10 standards, known as the National Employment Standards, or NES, was introduced on 1 January 2010 as part of the implementation of the Fair Work Act 2009. These standards apply to every employee in Australia, except non-constitutional employees engaged in Western Australia. This generally means employees of sole traders, partnerships, and government and public institutions, regardless of their type of employment. This chapter deals with annual leave. Full-time employees are entitled to accrued paid annual leave on the basis of 2.923 hours for every week of service. The total amount of paid annual leave accrued each year is equivalent to 4 weeks, which is payable at the employee's all-purpose hourly rate of pay. Part-time employee entitlements and payments are calculated on a pro-rata basis, and shift workers are entitled to 5 weeks paid annual leave per year. In order to be eligible, the employee must be a 7-day shift worker who is regularly rostered to work on Sundays and public holidays. The award also provides that when an employee takes a period of paid annual leave, the employee shall also be entitled to annual leave loading of 17.5% calculated upon the employee's all-purpose weekly wage. In normal circumstances, annual leave will be taken by an employee where there is mutual agreement as to when the leave may be taken. An employer must not unreasonably refuse to agree to a request by an employee to take paid annual leave. Alternatively, an employer may direct an employee to take paid annual leave where the employer and employee are unable to reach agreement on the taking of the leave, and the employee has accrued more than 8 weeks. In the case of a continuous shift worker, the period accrued must be 10 weeks. An employer must give an employee at least 28 days' notice prior to the date the employee is required to commence their annual leave. Any direction made by an employer to take annual leave will be limited to a total of 25% of the total amount of annual leave accrued by the employee. In the case of an employee with 8 weeks accrued, the employer can only ask the employee to take 2 weeks of annual leave. The award does allow an employer to provide employees with 2 months' notice in writing of an intention to close the business down over a Christmas-New Year period, for a period of no less than 2 weeks and no more than 4 weeks. Where an employee has not accrued sufficient annual leave to cover the business close-down period over Christmas-New Year, the employee will be entitled to be paid for the period of annual leave that has been accrued and stood down without payment for the remainder of the close-down period. An employer may agree to allow an employee to access a period of annual leave prior to the employee accruing such leave. Where this occurs, the amount owing will be removed from the employee's future accrual balance. Where the employee resigns or has their employment terminated prior to repaying the annual leave accrual, the employer shall be entitled to deduct any amounts owing from the employee's final termination payment. The award does not allow for the cashing out of annual leave in any circumstances. Employees who resign or are terminated for any reason are entitled to be paid their accrued annual leave as part of their final payment. Annual leave loading is also payable upon termination in all circumstances. Employers should be aware that when an employee falls sick during a period of annual leave, such an employee shall be entitled to claim payment as personal carers leave and have their annual leave accrual refunded to them. Thank you for watching this video. We encourage you to watch all the chapters in this series. If you have any questions, you can contact me on the details that are shown, and if you haven't already obtained a copy of the guide, we strongly recommend that you get one as soon as possible.